let's do this. So yeah, this comes from a very nice, generous Venmo donation. You did not put your profile name here, so I'm not going to obviously thank you by your name that you left here on Venmo. Maybe you did. Let me just double check. No, you didn't. But so, yes, you asked for me to listen to TesseracT Legion. It's brand new, released 5 days ago. And so thank you. That was a very nice, generous cup of coffee, couple cups of coffee that you have there. So I appreciate that so much. So let's do this. One thing I do know about TesseracT is they are very, very progressive, and they deploy in their sonic experience a lot of hybrid combinations between really dark and heavy metalcore. I don't know if they are considered metalcore, but they deploy some very unique ambient compositions and elements in their music. And I believe the vocalist also has that ability to be very whimsical and very clean, and then at the hit the switch, is able to, fry up his vocals and stuff. So we'll find out. I'm already just loving the thumbnail, so apparently we're in for some really super cool experience here. So let's do this. This is TesseracT Legend. All right. Hello. Great harmonies right there, man. Okay, well, so like I said, I mean, the opening up is very ethereal and ambient in the abstract. So the real big emphasis, I guess, in the mix, the way they have it punched out, is the drums. That drum pattern, and it's really in your head. As a matter of fact, for me, it's like almost a little distracting. The sound of the kick, everything is so crystal clean, and it sounds fantastic. And a lot of space for the ambient ethereal pads and stuff that's going in the back, and the melodies that's in that composition and the ambient structure of the composition compared to the melody that he's singing. And so he's got this really super clean voice, and that little head voice note that he hit at the end, that's just tremendous. That's just amazing. And now it seems like we're about to get into some of the darker, heavier part of TesseracT that I'm a little more familiar with. But for me, the lean in at this point is that I'm definitely not somebody to like do any takeaways, meaning like I'm not really leaning positively on anything. But I just feel at that moment, the drums were really punching in your face, and for myself, I was kind of having to work past that a little bit, to feel a little bit more of the ambient and the melody of the vocal performance, but that's just me being an old fart. God, that was a great section. A little spacey arpeggiation going back there, along with the pads. Really nice. So I don't know why the drums in this section doesn't encroach as much as the drums at the front section. I think it's because in this verse they filled it up a little more with the ambient parts of the composition, where you have this really high kind of analog bell or digi-analog bells arpeggiation happening, and they filled in the middle, or they filled in these tones a little more with ambience. So I feel for some reason now, and the drums, as somebody just said over here, we have now we have these ghost notes. It's almost like the drummer may have pulled back a little bit on the energy compared to the first verse, but now with these ghost notes and stuff coming in there, there's just something about this now that everything seems to be coming together and saying, okay, good. I'm feeling all the textures kind of rope into something that I'm going, okay. Not having to work to listen to the melody or anything. Now I'm kind of gliding in with the track a little better. Like a metalcore gent bottom end. Nice background vocals. Arritadando. Very nice. I love the ending of this. And the emotion of it, I mean, obviously I'm watching a music video, right? So the emotion of it, through the video too, is very telling with the composition. And love that little tailing off that we had going on right there with the, oops, let me stop that. I'll just drop it right there. That was once again, you've heard me mention about this before. A lot of times when songs end, when the producers and the directors, producers and the engineers start to, well, let's pull it back this way. Let's start removing layers and let's leave them with a little bit of something that, it's a part of the track that you might not hear as forward until you pull away these layers. So kind of what I had said earlier in my last stop about this little light arpeggiation of these kind of digi-analog sounding bells that were going on with these really long ambient ethereal reverb tails on it. Without a doubt, the ambience of this track is the fulfilling part of the track, the way I listen to it. So yeah, there's this full-on gritty, just ginormous guitar parts that are coming in the voice when he starts to completely fry and tear up on and stuff. I think also the big win for me was just listening to him as an artist and his vocal range all sounded really comfortable. I think that's a very good way to put it. A lot of times you can sometimes tell if artists and stuff are reaching for notes. They might get their notes in the performance, but there might be a certain air of slight uncomfortability that might come through that. you know, if that's like the note they've never hit before and they've worked, you know, an hour and a half with a vocal coach to hit that note, which is not a bad thing either. That's great. That's how you push yourself as a performer, full stop, as you go and you work on things. But everything about that, his performance was very much well within his capabilities, as it sounded. I think that makes sense about that. I think that makes some sense, you know. So that was my last listen here from the Adonos that came.